All right, we are now live. They can see us, they can hear us, and they're
Oh, no.
immediately regretting their decision on which stream to watch tonight. So, hello,
As they
welcome.
should be.
Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging with Defenders of Cobalt folks here. Matt's not joining us tonight. He's a little under the weather. So it's going to be the five of us. We are continuing our Heart campaign, Heart, the City Beneath, it's a very fun game, very fun RPG. Short campaign. We're nearing the end. We have probably like one more left to go. But if you're curious about the game, I definitely would recommend checking it out. Rowan, Rook, and Deckard. I'll drop a little link in the chat if you're in the chat. You can take a look at it. But we are getting really, really close. This is probably our penultimate ep, I think, barring strange things happening, which could totally happen. So before we get started, what do you got going this week, Defenders of Cobalt?
Chuck.
Gosh.
Any of the three of you?
Wednesday. Yeah. Wednesday, Joe's running SCP.
Mm-hmm.
He's running it as a Dungeon Crawl Classics funnel.
Yep.
So that'll be fun. I need to double check and see how many characters I actually have alive still.
I think it's like one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's one.
I'm pretty sure you have one alive.
Yeah, that sounds right. We don't have anything Thursday. Friday, we're over on twitch.tv/SwyhanderRPG running some more Bloody Marches. That's the name of our game. And Saturday, we'll be back on DOK running some Dark Trails. And that is our week.
Awesome. For us, let's see. We just dropped our 50th episode of our audio-only podcast for Zweihander today. So anywhere you get a podcast, just search for Adventures in Lollygagging.
Exciting stuff for us.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm exhausted just thinking about all the hours. Like that's like 70-something hours worth of. It's insane. And then Thursday, Melissa and I were doing we're also on twitch.tv/ZweihanderRPG. We're doing our Unsettled STEM game, continuing that. It's getting pretty fun. We're going to explore a weird little ruin, I think. And then Friday, we're playing Electric Bastion Land again, which I'm pretty excited about. It's a really fun game. Pretty light game, but weird. A lot like Heart in that it's weird. But yeah, so like a lot of weird stuff going on. So that's our week this week. I don't think there's anything else we got going on. But that's what's up. All right, so let's dive in then to Heart. Last week you managed to, not me. You managed to defeat the administrator at the Undertrench, which was the entity that was plaguing Athane, the temple city temple landmark that you all began the campaign in. So you dove down in there, fought these big old crabs. Dan nearly died a bunch of times. Chuck nearly died a bunch of times.
Yeah, a bunch of us nearly died.
Yeah,
Joe also.
Everyone basically almost
Ed,
died.
Melissa as well.
Yeah, pretty much everyone almost died, but fortunately no one did die. You managed to take down the big old administrator, and I think it was Joe's Kethras who picked up like a flash drive with like the conscience of the administrator, who wants you to do a favor and like plug it into the library's consoles or something like that. And then what else? I think after that, Morthos befriended a starfish, and you guys sped through this little delve, got back to Gasling Plain. What do y'all remember about Gasling Plain?
It's hot. It's unpleasant.
We made some friends there.
Mm-hmm.
They fish for squids.
Yeah, they fish for squid out of like an ashy ocean. So like the sea there isn't actually water. It's like ash that falls down from like a molten ceiling. There's like squids and stuff in it.
It's full of hatred.
Yeah.
They have a big carving and a cliff face with my face on it.
Yeah, there's that
Old version of Morthos.
Old man Morthos, is on there. A couple people I think you actually have some bonds here. I was checking my notes to double check this, but from my notes, it says that you all have a couple bonds. So if I recall correctly, Tarnished, you and Taffy bonded. That's an old human fisher lady.
Yeah.
That's another way we were talking about how to get you to get rid of some of your fallout and your stress and whatnot. Don't forget that you can unload that. You can unload certain things onto bonds, and that's one of them. Isol, no, never mind. She wasn't actually your bond. You just really offended her, Kethras. Gladys, was the old woman who kept saying something about the storms coming. I think her and Morthos. And then
Yep.
Spunk Hollow was the name of the Gnoll cook in the Long Hut that should have been Duvace's bond. So
That is true.
most commonly, if you're looking to heal with the bond, what you do is you use mind. It's usually mind stress, but you can make a case for something else, like they would patch you up or something like that, or they would lend you a bandage or whatever it might be. So if any of you need additional healing and you don't have enough resources to satisfy the haunts that are here, you can go ahead and perhaps do that as well. The Long Hut was the central area of civilization. Otherwise, it's just this really big, vast, ashy sea with occasional stilted homes and buildings and crawlers that go by fishing. Otherwise, it's just this vast, vast, ashy ocean. So you all go ahead and move down the cliff face towards the Long Hut. And what do you all want to do while you're here? Nothing seems to really change too considerably. The face of Morthos is still on the cliff. That hasn't changed. You see a handful of additional boats and stuff out on the water. And when you try to go into the Long Hut, Kethras is still not allowed inside.
Yeah.
So
Morthos may or may not notice this, but after kind of crawling back down the cliff face again, Duvesa is not making eye contact with Morthos because she has still not had kind of the full discussion with him, I don't think, about all that.
Yeah.
So she's sort of avoiding Morthos at the moment.
okay.
Fine.
Fair.
After getting knocked silly last session, I don't know if I'm in much of a position to notice that.
Yeah.
I do know some food and some drink sounds mighty good. And then also, go say hi to Gladys.
Yeah, when you head to the Long Hut, you can see that she's still there in a rocking chair. Looks like she's knitting some kind of sweater or like a chew toy for a dog. Looks like a squid, and she's just kind of rolling back and forth. Storm's coming. And when she sees you, she's just like, "Where's your friend? The other one, the good-looking one."
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
Burnthos.
that's true. We left Burnthos up in
With the
the name of
mechanical ball and Professor
Thane.
P.
yeah, up in a Thane for safekeeping because
Oh.
we had to climb down a cliff and I didn't want to carry him with me.
Ah, I see. Well, new recipes afoot inside. Spunk Hollow's making all sorts of different dishes. Help yourself.
Well, that's good. Also, there, Gladys, I would like to point out that you see that big face carved up on the rock up there.
And she says,
Yeah, it's a mite ugly son of a bitch over there. Yep, yeah, I see it.
I'm not going to argue. That is also another one of me.
Okay, some kind of celebrity or something then, I see.
Yeah. Who is that?
You, I thought you just said.
Well, it is, but who am I?
I don't know.
All right.
Been
Good
there
enough.
as long as
It's a
I
very deep
remember.
question.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. That's fair. I'll go get some food.
okay. So the Long Hut, specifically the hunt, you can do D8 blood or mind to have some seafood. So you can either use like the roaring fire and just the other people that you're hanging around with, just sort of relax and get some mind stress back, or you can do blood. And we're 2 uses of this haunt away from upgrading it, actually. Because we need 6
Can
total
I,
uses. We have 4 on my notes.
Can I spend resources to get rid of my fallout with the haunt?
You could, but you can't actually access the haunt. You specifically, you got that was one of the things you got run out of here, Kethras,
Yeah.
for not. I don't
Failing
know.
to roll really badly.
You failed to roll against Esol pretty bad, and so
Yeah.
yeah, they when you try to come through the door, you see a cane of the Gladys just comes out and covers the door like,
Not you. Go away.
so you are. Yeah, you're barred from entry, but the rest of you can go inside.
I did
Okay.
need to see about putting in those special eyes that I got.
Okay. So
I got to remember what they even did now. I thought I wrote it down, but
I can look it up if you need to. If you need me to. But you could. It's just gonna be a. Oh my god! I forgot to have my little my little sheet out that tells me all my little shorthands.
Yeah, well, I could swear I wrote it down, but oh no, there it is. Knack for
prepared.
discern and tech.
Right. It gives you a knack for discern and tech, which means you roll with mastery. So anytime you roll a discern test or a test that incorporates the domain of tech, then you basically get to do it. You can have somebody roll a mend tech to try to put these in, or you can roll them on yourself, but it would be risky for you to put them into your own.
It sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah. So it would
for
be
me to do it myself.
So
Yeah, the whole using a mirror for surgery on yourself kind of doesn't work well when it's your eyes.
I don't know. I just gotta line it up and then, and then sneak. Ah!
get out of the way, I can't see. Oh wait, that's me. But Duvesa, did you ever get men back? I know that was one of your fallouts, is that you could
Yes,
use
I
the skill.
have cleared all of my fallouts, so
Okay.
I do have men back.
So you could potentially get Duvesa to do it, even though she doesn't have tech. So that's something.
I have tech if I can help her put my eyes in somehow.
Sure.
I'll help by staying calm.
Sure. I guess we can do that.
Tell me a bit about how all that tech stuff works.
Yeah. You take it and then you jam it in, I think.
Well, first, what you have to do, Duvesa, is you have to get a nice sharp blade, and you gotta stab his eyes with it, and you gotta cut him out. I know that's your favorite thing in the world.
Sounds fantastic.
So you
sounds
gotta-
like a fun afternoon.
You gotta go ahead and cut his original eyes out, and then you put the tech eyes in. That's what you gotta do.
This
All
sounds wonderful.
It's
I'm
all one roll. I'm not gonna do anything.
Nice.
I'm gonna recommend that somebody. Oh wow, look at that! I was gonna say
Everyone
somebody
rolls
needs
so
to hit
fast.
me in the head.
Okay.
I was gonna engage.
I
in
was so
reckless
excited to
drinking.
pop your eyes out and squish them that I wasn't even waiting for any further explanation.
Yeah, I mean maybe Morthos will eat them.
You're like, one sec.
Do you still
Are-
have that strange hunger?
I sure do. I've been making sure not to get rid of it.
I just have a knife that's got like 2 eyeballs stuck to the top of it. So
Can
like
can I have those?
It's an ice kebab.
yeah.
Do you want to
I'm not
give?
gonna do anything.
Do you want to give tarnished old eyeballs to Morthos?
If Tarnish approves his eyeballs being eaten.
He can't
by
see anything
Morthos.
right now. It's fine.
He has tech eyes now. He can see even better than before. I give the
Magical eye.
knife with the eyes back to Tarnished-Steel, and he can do with them as he chooses.
We'll make these like a D6 wild resource. Why not? Why not? Eyeballs.
Can I have?
Maybe. I do need some healing.
They are your eyes. You can
Mhm.
do with them as you
Yeah.
choose.
That is true.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
gonna take them from
We
you.
could
They're
always say
yours.
there's 2 D4s and for each eye, and so each one of you. You could do that too if you want.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll
I
give
have
you
an
one
eye.
of them.
All right.
Don't do something too weird with it.
Okay.
Oh.
It pops like a grape.
Oh
Ah.
my god. Gristle in the beard. Like, ooh.
Uh-huh.
It's like that scene from Lord of the Rings when like he's eating the tomatoes. Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's rolling for the haunts, the long hut with Spunk Hollow?
I'll go ahead and cash in those resources that I have left
Okay.
to roll for some blood stress.
I think out of spite, I'm just gonna enter the gray and chill inside the lawn hut.
You're gonna go inside anyway. Love it.
It's
Awesome.
a 1d8.
It is 1d8. Yeah, the first 2 anyway. After that, it'll be d10.
All right, let's see what happens. Oh, good. That's enough.
Okay. So you can. Was that you doing blood for that? Or?
Yep, I have 4 blood stress.
All right, so you're good on that. And is anybody else rolling there?
Yeah, I got a couple blood I'd like to get rid of, but all I've got is a D6 of mining equipment. Can I trade those off for some food?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Like there's probably plenty of blades and things in there he can end up using. So
right, cool.
Spunk Hall is a pretty
I'll-
reasonable guy.
Trade off
There-
my tunneling gear, and I'll heal myself a D6.
So you see him start putting on like the helmet with like the light on the front, and he's like looking into his oven with it, like hello.
Oh my
Ah,
god,
this
it's
is
so
fantastic.
dirty in here. Oh god.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Cool.
Good deal. And that also means now, if and when anybody uses this again, if that ever happens, I'm not sure if we'll be back here after tonight, but if so, the long head is now a D10 haunt. It's been upgraded
Nice.
for all of its uses. Kethras, you're here. If you want, I say you can probably do. If you want, you can use the mind stress. But do you have any mind stress that you need cleared? Okay.
No, I took major
Okay.
fallout.
Okay.
I have Echo and Fortune that I need to try and
If you guys
unload on someone, but
if the plan's going back to Hollow, which is I think the plan because that's the way to get to Moongrove, then you can go ahead and save it for there because there is Echo and Fortune haunts there. There's also supplies haunt there.
Yeah, that's what I need.
I wasn't sure if I'd be able to put that onto my connection here or not. So
Which one? So Fortune. Let's see. I would probably say Fortune. I think would make sense. I can see Fortune.
we'll go gambling or something
Okay.
to refill our fortune.
Well, I mean, you could go ahead and get drunk and start gambling with her a bit and
Yep.
playing some dice or dominoes or whatever. So you're looking to get rid of fallout. Is it major or minor?
I don't have any fallout.
Oh, okay. So you're just getting rid of stress. Sorry. my
Just
bad.
stress.
Misunderstood. Okay. So then you can transfer up to D8 stress. So let me go ahead and roll.
Fortunately, I only have one fortune stress, so
Okay.
I'm just trying to bring that total value down.
All right. So I think everyone's cleaned up then.
So we can do fortune stress here.
I could see it. I mean, it makes sense. I think if you're like looking to gamble, and fortune is like karma, is like good karma, luck, a little bit of mixture of that kind of stuff. You know, I think that
Yeah, I
can kind
have
of make
4
sense.
fortune stress.
Plus, I have a minor to engage in reckless drinking, gambling, or other things.
So if you're going to engage in reckless drinking and gambling, I think you're going to have to make a roll for me.
I know.
I think you're going to have to. Do you want to do gambling or do you want to do drinking? What do you prefer?
Probably drinking.
Okay, so that's going to be an endure desolate test, and because we're not sure what all this stuff is. Nah, I'm not gonna make it risky. Never mind. Endure desolate. Let's do endure desolate.
Okay, that at least gets me 2 dice. Oh, damn it!
All right.
Oh.
So
I'm just trying to get that minor filled.
okay, so then you will go ahead and take we'll call it 5 points of supply stress.
Ah, damn it!
As
Good
you
thing I
get
have no
drunk,
protection on.
and when you wake up, a bunch of your stuff is missing. And when you look at your friend, she's
I don't have it. I don't know. This is what happens.
and yeah, you're just missing some stuff that you're sure you had when you arrived, but now that you've been woken up, plus it has like you have stuff written across your forehead.
Oh, that's the worst.
Then Duvesa, if you wanted to, you had Spunk Hollow. If you wanted to try to unload some stuff onto him.
You'll have to probably give me a test here real quick too.
Oh yeah, I always forget the second part of that, don't I? 6. So I think you're okay, right?
I am over that.
Oh.
All right. So it was
Darn.
something important then that was taken from you. What could it have been? So this is going to be minor supplies. Do you have any other fallouts running right now?
Nope.
All right. So
They plucked out his robot eyes.
he's missing one of his eyes.
Oh no! I just got those.
No, that's mean. We'll say. Do you have any other resources?
I have that technology catalog.
Okay.
What type of resource do you need?
Do you have any weapons?
I have some miscellaneous stuff. I've got my door. The bowl got stolen. I have
Your shield's broken.
oh
So you have to take some time to repair it if you were gonna. So we'll say your shield's broken, which is gonna risk you. You're gonna have to
the
risk repairing
shield's
it.
part of my identity.
So that's a mend. I think that's gonna be mend tech again to repair that. If you wanted to spend some time doing that.
Okay,
Do
that
basic
cleared-
can help.
that clears my supply stress.
Okay. All right.
Back out. So yeah, well, let's see if we could make some more stress by fixing things.
This is one of them chain reactions. This happens
Yeah.
sometimes.
But now I have mastery in tech, so
Okay.
if you don't
Oh,
mind
that's true.
helping,
From the eyes, yeah. You get so if she can give you a die.
Yep.
From her mend. So go ahead and
it should be. Is it
it's mend
4
tech.
then?
So you should have one for normal, one for tech, one for the knack from tech, and then one from the assist die. So 4.
There we go. All right.
Beautiful.
I was
All
like,
right.
take that. I can
Very
fix
nice.
this.
It's in better condition than when it started. It looks even better, shiny, spit shine, and new. Yeah, you got some decals on it. It says Alienware. It's really weird.
Okay, I put some paint on it too, some fire,
Okay. All right.
LEDs in it.
It's a water cooling system now.
RGB.
Just a computer case.
So Devesa, were you doing something else with your
I've got 4
bond?
points of fortune stress to offload.
Okay. All right. So then I need to roll. Okay. So you should be okay with your bond. I think is probably going to be okay on this. All right. So you can go ahead and roll your roll a D8 and take that many fortune back. And you don't wound your bond. That's what my rolls were for. And you only get one back, unfortunately.
Alright.
Okay. So Devesa, you still have a message to deliver to Moongrove. You have to go see some clerics in Moongrove, and so I think that was the plan. When you talk around a bit, and just from also living in living in Hallow, you know that Moongrove is easily. It's not easily, but it's connected to the catacombs below Hallow. Catacombs are not a place for people who, casually show up at Hallow. Not that anyone really does. Will wander, but I would say as a witch, you're familiar with it. You would know, and so you would need to get over to Hallow first. And you already know, since you've been this route before, you already know how to get there, which is to just head across the dusty plains that connect Gasling Plain to Hallow. So unless there's anything anyone else wants to do here, we can begin this hopefully quick delve.
I'd probably be looking for resources and things while they're, fishing for squid.
Okay. What do you want to do? What do you feel like? You looking to hunt something, or are you looking to
Yeah, I'd say.
Okay. So we can do a hunt.
Trying to
Desolate.
get the squid like I did last time.
Okay.
Which I have both hunt and desolate.
Go for it.
So
Okay.
there you go.
And yeah, you're able to moving up and down the shore a bit, finding good spots, moving out into some sort of rocky jetty. You're able to spear a few of these, a nice, good, chunky, strange, ashy squid, and restockpile that. So I think it was a D6, right? Wasn't it D6 we gave?
It was D6 or D8. I don't remember.
All right. So
I'll say squid D6.
sounds good. Okay. Anything else here? All right. If that's the case, then you guys go ahead, bid your goodbyes to the various folks around here, and you climb the steps up to the top of the plateau that leads across that vast, desolate place. You make sure to move around the opening white sand area where the tendrils were whipping around at you. It was like the Tremors thing, and you just kind of take a different route. You also notice pretty quickly this distant dust storm getting kicked up, like you're looking off, and you can see sort of moving around. It's not coming from the upper parts of the cavern, which are, if you remember, quite high, and there's glittering birds that seem to be flying by and dropping feathers here and there. But you do see it coming up from the ground, and after a good, hour of travel, you come across it and you realize it's the pig stagecoach that has been aimlessly wandering around this area because it doesn't seem to have a driver. This is the connection that you all established with the last time around to shorten or lengthen the resistance. So someone, however, is going to need to try to hop into stagecoach and give this thing some sort of direction. Otherwise, it's just going to aimlessly wander. So we're looking at probably a compel wild test here.
Oh no, I
I'll
have
do it.
none of those.
I have neither of those.
I'll do it.
Okay. So you see Morthos try to hop up into the moving vehicle,
Oh no.
and the moving
I
vehicle.
should note that I don't
Wow.
have either of those either.
And you see as this moving vehicle just literally rolls
Ah.
over top of him, despite it being a friendly situation. Take 8 points of blood stress
Okay.
because it is just going to knock you over. 10 is the total on the fallout roll.
My total now is 7.
Okay, so you're gonna
Goodness.
take a wound here, or a wound. You're gonna take a fallout. You have any other blood fallout going on?
No, wait. I
No,
rolled.
he's below.
Yeah, I'm below.
He's under 7.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, I totally misunderstood. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're good on that. I was like, oh,
Yeah, my total stress for
what?
everything is 7 now
Okay,
because I got 1 protection and
You
blood.
just take. Oh, okay.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
good. Okay, so the only thing that hurts is your pride.
Yeah.
And so you see this thing begin to just stumble over top of him, but fortunately he slows it down. His body kind of gets caught up in the wheels and such, and so all of
I
you,
Oh,
all of
I
you are
am
able,
useful.
all of you are able to get on board with it, and it'll close the distance, but it's kind of going in its own direction. It's going where it wants to go, and trying to get it to just take a direct line seems to be a little bit more difficult than you would like. Eventually, you can see that it actually starts leading you in a familiar path. It seems to speed right over top of that white sandy area with all the tendrils. And you can see it coming across that area that looked from a distance like a series of signposts and stuff, but ended up being like a cemetery with overly large tombstones, where Zerk met his aunt Lunette. And you can see that there are a variety of these huge glittering almost like vultures, but they're much bigger, swooping down, and they're like raining all sorts of dust and debris, and they're just ripping up graves, and they seem to also just be causing total chaos. Those of you who can see going forward would probably be very concerned if all of a sudden all these pigs pass by. These vultures just seem to be swooping down for bodies. So this is your next
they might be
situation.
interested in pig instead.
They might be, but it also. So how are you getting around this?
Duvesa would want to try to go stand kind of on the outskirts of this big open area,
Okay.
change into her true form, and see if she can just do a mass like D4 stress to all of the adversaries. So like all of them all at once.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
All right. So if you're gonna do that, you're gonna hop out. You're gonna roll kill, and this will be wild or desolate.
Okay, yell at them, what are you doing in my graveyard?
Gotta protect Aunt what's her face's grave.
Lunette.
Aunt Lynette's grave. I don't have either of those, but that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, without Kethras here, I think we're pretty light in those skills.
Or Matt.
Or Matt, yeah.
I do think I've got
Zerk, sorry.
something
Zerk.
with
I don't know why
kill.
That's fine.
It's probably because I see you.
I don't.
Mhm.
I don't. Just got the one.
Okay.
We're gonna see how this goes. All right. I succeed.
So you pop into your
D4
true
stress.
form. So you pop into your true form. Okay. And so then you cast. So what is it you're doing that you're like actually? Are
So
you-
basically, I am turning into my true form.
Gotcha.
So I do the whole like melty skin, fire tornado over a skeleton.
Mhm.
But at this point, I now have the major ability called Great and Terrible. So when I choose to enter my true form, all adversaries who see me take D4 stress.
Okay. And you certainly see that these birds, there's about 4 of them that are swooping around, and they're, again, like albatross size, swooping on, reaching down, ripping up stuff from the ground, as they start to screech and kind of react in a way that suggests they've seen some kind of predator, and they all begin to flutter away, and you can see that raining down as they leave are all these little glittery feathers. But off they go, like you can kind of see them on the horizon, and eventually they just disappear into a mirage. And
Nice.
the way forward is clear, but there is some lasting damage to the graveyard.
Can we pick up some of the feathers?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pick up
Hopefully.
Yeah, you can pick up a handful of feathers. This will be a D8 of glittering feathers.
Hopefully, Auntie Zerk is okay.
Yes. Can we double check her grave?
You do head over to the gravestone where you saw Zerk step into like a door, and it does appear to still be intact. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. All right.
Do I
Okay.
see anything if I look at that with my spectacles?
When you see it, you can actually see a listing of etchings of who's there, and it starts to show more and more names, and it just seems like it would be this long list of like Zerk Brindetooth's family and other names and such. I'm not sure how much he would have he said, but it was like the idea I think was that his aunt was collecting folks who made it to the heart and feeding them to him, so that he can get like kind of the visions of how to get there. But you see names start popping up of all of them have that Brindetooth legacy there. Okay, so the path is clear, and so the pigs take advantage of it, start moving forward. Now, at a certain point, you come across what looks to be this large and massive snail that's just slowly moving across. And when I say massive, it actually makes the crab behemoths that you've been fighting very recently look quite small. And it's so slow and so massive that it actually just looks like you're about to run into a giant mountain. But after a moment, when the pigs come to a screeching halt, you see that the snail itself, the mountain is kind of moving. You look off to the east, to the west. It's like your pigs seem to be confused over which way to go, but this massive snail's in the way. Also, Devesa, you never rolled your delve. What delve item do you have? Do you have any delve items, equipment?
No, I don't.
Okay, so then just roll a d4.
Okay.
And that's how much you do to the delve's resistance.
3.
Okay.
It's
Got
not
it.
bad.
Not bad at all. All right. Within realm of one more. If so, giant snail in the way. Pigs don't know what to do. What do you want to do?
Really wish we had a giant salt shaker.
Or a very big magnifying glass.
How does it seem like it's moving quickly?
No, it's moving glacially slow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
You can wait it out, but it would probably take a long time.
yeah, that's my first impression is to hotfoot it. Just, light
Go-
its foot pad on fire.
Try and make a move.
In what situation is that not your first thought? How can I
Um,
use fire here?
How can fire solve this problem?
So it's a snail, so it's got like a shell.
Really
It's
big. It almost looks like a mountain's just slowly moving across the horizon.
I part of me is curious if there's like some crazy civilization living on the shell of this snail.
Maybe.
Yeah, I started fire.
Okay. So roll. You can go ahead and roll a kill slash desolate or kill wild. One of those two will work.
Nope.
Okay. So as you get up to cast the fire, you get the flames going, and it comes out and seems incredibly ineffectual. And maybe you put it together, rub the hands together like you're using defibrillator panels, and then try to fire it out once more. Again, just seems to piddle out ineffectually. So go ahead and take 1 point of fortune stress as the confidence in this fire is beginning to once again. Had some performance issues in the past. So
Yeah.
so Fallout check, that's a 4.
I'm over that. I've got 8 for
All
my
right,
grand
so
total
this
now.
will be a minor. Do you have any other minors going on right now?
Just my major.
Okay, we'll say. And you don't have any. Do you have any fortune protection?
I do.
Okay.
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I do not have fortune
All
protection.
right. Then we'll call it the hard way. So you lead. So this basically casting the spell is starting to anger this snail, and you begin to see it kind of shimmer and shake, and rocks begin to fall. And so not only is now there's this giant snake in the way, but now there's this avalanche of rocks that are falling down that you have to get past. So the next obstacle that you all have to try to overcome is dangerous. So whoever tries to overcome this falling avalanche of rock from this pissed off snail, it's going to be a dangerous difficulty.
Oh no.
Sorry.
If you have a decent plan, you can reduce it to risky or standard. If it's like a really good plan, though, that's what it says specifically.
Boy, we're really good plans, right?
Yeah. I mean, creative.
Yeah.
But yeah, these rocks are just
All right.
hammering down on you at this point. The stagecoach is affording you some protection from that, but it's probably not going to hold out forever.
Yeah. All right. What's the plan, guys?
I think we gotta go around. I can try and help, deflect some damage, maybe.
So you stand on the roof with your shield.
Okay. All right, so go ahead if that's the case. If you want to try to encourage the pigs to start moving away, which they want to, it's just a question of which way they want to go. But since you're on top, we'll say you all are able to at least the pigs are going to go in a direction that's not near the rocks. So you stand on top and you're using your shield tarnish. Go ahead and roll an endure desolate.
All right. And dangerous still?
And it's going to be a dangerous. Yeah. Not sure if I would go as far as to call this. Okay. So you're up there trying to protect, doing another Teen Wolf crowd surfing thing. So many references to that in my games recently. But you're up there surfing on board on top, and you're just getting whacked. And eventually, like a giant rock comes falling down and just crushes you in. Those of you who are inside the stagecoach, you see the ceiling just give out, and all of a sudden, Tarnished is now also in the stagecoach with you, but his head is like still sticking out the ceiling. Unfortunately,
Can I invoke one of my delve things?
are you using it this delve? Because you weren't clear on whether you're using it on this delve or the other one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Might as well save him.
All right.
6 points. We'll call this. We'll just call this blood. I think you're getting railed on by rocks. I don't see any reason to be cute about it. And 1.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Mind rocks.
You guys are. This was supposed to be the easy delve.
Not how that works.
Just weird how this works out.
I only took 2 from that.
I think
believe it or not, and it's.
I think calling this battered makes the most sense. Your dominant hand is injured. You can bandage it up and stop the bleeding, but it's of limited use for the time being. Any offensive action you make in combat becomes risky. Any tasks that require fine dexterity are out of the question. It's ongoing. So blood, minor, battered. Okay. Now, the good news is that the pigs have now gotten you out of range of that avalanche, but you are still no closer to completing the delve. So you wait around for a bit, or the pigs decide to lead you on a merry chase as they head, let's call it eastward, in the direction of something else. When you eventually start to notice more landmarks, you realize you see another desolate and empty town. You see a giant water tower in the middle, and you see all sorts of burned scorch marks along the way. You can see that a giant fissure has opened inside of the middle of this town. It doesn't appear to be anyone here, but it's spewing up these like little lava bursts every now and then, and they're like landing on different places, different buildings, and suddenly catching on fire. And your pigs are stupid enough to just be barreling right in the direction of it. But also some of these explosions, these pyroclastic explosions, are going a significant distance. So this is the next task.
That sounds also unpleasant somehow. We might have ourselves some fresh bacon.
And you can go ahead and clear that last fortune now, Morthos, since he rolled the dangerous.
So what's the plan here? They've got enough fire.
So there's all sorts of buildings. Some of them are on fire. Big old water tower, giant fissure, explosive
Smash
lava
the
stuff.
water
There's a big old
tower.
water
Yeah,
tower.
but
Yeah.
maybe we
Yeah.
could. Maybe the Animaniacs are in it though, and maybe it's not full of water.
Well, listen, there's only one way to find out, and
like
that's
that
by
reference.
knocking it over.
I like that
Yeah.
reference a lot. Okay. How do we want to do that? Who wants to do
All right.
that?
I could go and Don Quixote the water tower with my giant, dragon slaying sword.
You actually
Except
can't
it's
now.
risky.
You yeah.
Except it's
yeah,
risky.
exactly.
Go.
Well, first, let's just make sure it is full of water. Like, we don't want to like shoot a water tower full of gasoline.
Well, that'd be really cool for a second.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot it with my revolver. Like,
Okay.
just kind of get underneath of it. Just give it a shot. I just want to see if
easy
water
enough.
comes out.
Yeah, easy enough. You shoot
Yeah.
up and then you see a trickle of water coming out for sure.
How does that water taste?
It's warm, but it's water. Warm, a little sandy, but it's definitely water.
Okay. We've
Get some
struck
of that
pay
water.
dirt.
I'll get some of that water. I
Okay.
need to make myself some resources.
All right, let's
Is
get
water a
some
resource?
rope.
So, Mark,
Support.
can I trade you this
It's-
flask of sandy?
It's just
warm water?
supplies. Yeah.
How many
Yeah.
legs does this
Oh,
water
that's what I
tower
figured.
have?
4.
Let's get some rope or something and tie it to a leg of the water tower into the back of the wagon, and then pull it, rip that leg out.
Okay. I like this.
Is there like a ladder or anything leading up that we could go and try and loosen the leg first?
There is indeed. Yeah. It looks pretty old wood, but yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you climb up, do some loosening. You wrap a rope around one of the legs, and then you're gonna try to get the pigs to just sort of rip it out. How about we do this? Let's make this a discern to see which one of these legs might be the best to pull. And we can do Haven, since this is a building. If anyone wants to try to do that,
I can do that.
discern Haven. Okay. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Oh gosh. Boy, this delve does not want
This
us
is
to
just-
pass.
So
Roll 20 is being real
it's
naughty.
really,
tonight.
really bad. Yeah, it's just like no, don't progress. Matt's not here.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's kind of nice if you think of it that way. So you see it. Your plan works sort of, except when the tower teeters over. Most of the night I know this really well. When it falls over, it doesn't fall where you were aiming. Instead, you just see all the water just rush into like this dusty, sandy area where there's no buildings, no fire, nothing. It was a completely useless fall, and now water has gushing everywhere.
How
And-
wide is this town? Or, like, do we have to go through it?
No,
Like,
it's
go
just
around it?
this is what I said. And now you're facing steam that has now erupted around you, and you're trying to navigate your way back to, because the water fell down on the fire, water, steam,
It's just worse now somehow.
and so now you can't make your way out. So someone needs to
Okay.
make a delve or discern here to try to get the hell
Where that water landed on that sand,
out of here. Okay.
I would like to go over there, and I would like to kind of get a feel for how hot that sand is.
It's walkable. It's not too.
Is it can I handle it? Like, will it?
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
one of
too
those
hot?
like just you left something like in a microwave for a little too long, and you're like ooh, that was
Hot
hotter
pocket.
than you thought, But it's doable. It's not gonna hurt
I'm
you.
gonna make a sandcastle.
Okay, sandcastle is made. All right. So
Delve complete. No.
yeah, that's
Like-
it. And there's a little door, and you can crawl inside.
You just built a haven.
So all of you are kind of somewhat separated from each other with the falling of this tower. There's steam and dust in all directions. And how do you get out of here?
I cry on the inside and the outside because it's probably hot as hell in my armor.
Oh gosh,
yeah.
yeah, that would be
Yeah,
for sure.
you're gonna be
And
a
you're
baked potato.
you're carrying so much too. We could do just a delve since you're just trying to progress. So if anyone has delve, I could do delve desolate or delve haven since it's still technically a town.
I don't have either of those.
I'm just gonna stick my finger up in the air and I'm just gonna start going a direction.
Go for it.
If only I had more of these things.
There we go.
Oh, there you go.
You do manage. You stick your finger up in the air. You get a cool breeze suddenly starts to hit it, and you feel like that's got to be the way to go. Shout out! Your friends hear you, and all of you march out of the steam like heroes. And behind you,
yeah.
the whole place burns.
Like it was before.
Okay.
With
Yeah.
but now with more steam.
So go ahead.
Nothing good came
destruction.
from our presence.
Oh my gosh, why?
Go ahead. Don't. I couldn't roll like much of anything last night for most of the Shadowrun game.
Right.
And then at the very end, it turned in my favor, and I feel like I'm still going with that one.
Well, you're
Still
restocking
right.
on playing a game with
Super.
me.
Oh yeah, it's true. Dan and I are together again, so we have balance in the force.
Yeah.
Okay, let's call that one. I think supplies. You left something
God
behind.
Damn it! I have no supply stress protection.
That may or may not be why I chose that. Okay.
That's fair.
So take 6, and then I'll do the fallout roll 2, and so you'll take a minor.
I had another minor.
Well, we're gonna say. We'll just say half rations. You say you just lost your food. Most of your food's gone. Simple enough. Someone could just share it with you, and so if somebody wants to get rid of this, they can just mark D6 stress to their supplies, and that would get rid of this fallout. Or you can just keep it. It's up to you.
I'm gonna chance that.
Okay.
Because why not?
Go ahead and roll D6 then. I'll let you roll it, so I don't
Okay.
kill the whole party.
And I have 2 protection.
Perfect. So I won't even roll
Perfect.
for fallout check.
Yes.
Dan, do you have any delving equipment?
I do.
What's the die value?
D6.
Roll a D6.
Oh, wait a second. I don't have Delve equipment anymore because it's with Professor Behekman.
Oh, that's right. You don't have the bowl anymore. Roll a
Yeah.
D4. Roll a D4.
No, that's fine. That's as good as I roll.
That's exactly. That's actually exactly what you needed. So
All
that's,
right.
Yes. Because the original delve resistance was 12, halved to 6, and so as you move through the steam, you can see in the distance the same rocky pathway that you had climbed prior, and at the very top of that, the greenish, wiry trees where you fought some rabbits. You move up to the staircase that's flanked with skulls and bones, and you climb up.
I'm gonna give this a real good once over because no more rabbits for me.
Yeah, and you look up and you see no rabbits attacking the poor witches of Hallow, and you have now once again reached the witch landmark of Hallow. So when you get here, there seems to be a little bit of an argument transpiring. There's like 6 witches in the middle of that courtyard. They're just kind of having it out. Devesa, you would probably know that it would be good to steer clear of that argument and trying not, when witches get angry, they tend to turn into their true form.
Yes.
And when they turn into
Why
their true
is
form,
salty.
Earth, everyone.
right. So you have been here before, so you kind of know your way around a little bit. There is a trader named Lydia Fallcastle, which you can do supplies, stress, and fallout from. There is a fountain called the Red Well, where you can throw some coins inside or something like that and make some wishes and get some fortune stress back. And then if you really want to do something crazy, you can go ahead and get some work done with the witches. One of the witches could perform the rite on you and do up to D12 worth of echo healing.
That sounds neat.
Okay.
Actually.
I'm going to the well.
Okay. So you need to. What kind of resources are you having to, or do you have to get rid of?
3 fortune stress.
Yeah, but what?
Oh, what resources am I
Resources.
giving up?
Yeah.
I've got the necklace.
Okay.
D6.
All right. So you chuck the necklace inside, and you can roll your D6 to get and take that many fortune back. Oh, it's just one of them nights. Everything's turning
Yet
up
again.
Millhouse. Okay, who else wants to do something?
That's for sure.
Who else needs healing somewhere?
I do, but I don't have any room. Well, I've got a D8, I guess. Is it worth it to spend a D8 to heal 2? Maybe.
It's your call.
Well, seeing as we're rolling as like we are, I might not even heal 2 with the D8.
Probably just get a 1. You got it halfway there.
I've got 2 echo stress.
Okay. It's up to you. Echo is a little bit rare, but the closer you get to the heart, the more likely it's going to be echo. And you guys are getting pretty close.
Yeah, and I just want to, because I keep getting wrecked. Well, no, maybe I should get rid of my fallout first. If there's a way to get my
What
my
kind do you
battered fallout. It's blood.
have? Battered. Let's see. That was the hand, right? Duvesa can try to clean it if you'd like. She's got. Actually, wait. No, she can't. She can't do. Can you do Fallout, Duvesa?
I don't think so.
All right. You can do. I'm looking.
Is
to
that
see.
something I can do? I can just mend blood.
No, you have to have a specific ability. Like, do you have any abilities?
No.
Okay.
No.
Then there's no blood. There's no blood healer here. Just
Dang.
echo, supplies, and fortune.
I probably gotta save my pennies for fixing the fallout later.
Okay.
And I am steering clear of Midler because I angered her last time.
Yes,
That's
you
the only
did.
fallout- That's the only fallout I have is the fortune fallout from Midler.
Okay.
I forgot about that.
If no one else is doing anything, you can continue onward.
We
then.
can all have a drink in my name now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember what the cocktail was called.
Oh yeah, what was that called?
It was
Oh,
like
yeah, it was a rabbit.
rabbit. Something.
It was
Yeah.
a flaming Homer.
I've got it in my notes that are on my laptop that's being junky at the moment.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was rabbit something.
Okay. So if that's the case, Duvesa, you would be able to navigate pretty easily towards one of the entrances to the catacombs beneath the city. Remember that this landmark is built up upon the ruins of some large church or temple. It doesn't really have a rooftop anymore, and some of the walls are still intact, and a lot of that kind of courtyard area is built up around it. Tons of different witch huts here and there. But you can find one of the underground cellar entrances that go down into these catacombs. And you're seeing tombs of all kinds for a significantly long stretch. This is going to take a while, but it is nonetheless a place that you can get to. Duvesa, that the catacombs beneath have a tendency to, like the witches themselves, the theory is that you all are immortal in a way. You don't necessarily maintain the normal form that you currently have, but you nonetheless are able to transcend into like a new form, and sometimes that's beneath here, and so the likelihood of encountering something like that could be possible. But you find your way down. You get through the obvious places that still look like some semblance of an actual church, and eventually you find breaks in the walls where vines and little specks of the heart, the flesh of the heart, begin to show themselves, and you start delving further into this like liquidy, half vine, half stonework corridor. Eventually, you come across you would imagine the kind of blossoms of some of these vines that are toothflower blooms, and that they have a tendency to gnash away at people. They're called toothflower because they literally have teeth inside of their blossoms. And the path forward through this very, very, very tight corridor that is somewhat unnatural is littered with these. And anytime you take a step and move forward, you can see that these blossoms just come at you and start snapping. Dangerous to get through. How do y'all want to tackle this?
I could always just try and force our way through a little bit here. I realized that I could put on that armor I got last time. Do 2 block items stack?
You can look it up. I don't remember actually if they stack. I know some stuff stacks.
It just says it's +1 blood protection.
Double checking. I know some stuff does stack. I know brutal items stack because you can continue to get like multiple brutal items. Just roll like a bunch of stuff. Yeah, it doesn't say it doesn't, so +1. Yeah, I don't see why. I would say yeah, probably for now, until I'm told otherwise.
I'll put that on and
Unless it's like occupying the same like equipment slot,
it's
so to speak.
armor.
Okay.
The carapace.
Right, and then you have the shield on top of it, right?
Yep.
So between yeah, that makes sense. I think it's logical. Yeah. Okay. So you want to just push through?
I don't have any really great ideas. My character's not so smart.
Those are my favorite ones to make. You could
He's got lots of armor and a shield, and there's something that he can hit with it.
You could do Endure Warren. This is a tight corridor, and you're just trying to push past. You can do Endure Wild, since it's vegetation. Either of those will do. You can Endure makes the most sense. You're just trying to like be the lead blocker to let everyone else get through while you trample some flowers and things.
We'll see if I roll any better yet.
Ooh.
Hey, look at that.
That's a
I
good
got
start.
a success somewhere.
All right. So you watch as he just tramples through, smashing some of the flowers that get smushed against the wall, stepping on others. It doesn't seem to entirely kill them, as the rest of you, quickly following behind, can see that they're already starting to kind of re-energize a bit. But you're able to pass by the most populated section of the tunnel, and then it opens up a little bit more and gives you some more room to be able to avoid them. Do you have any delve equipment?
Yeah, not anymore.
All right, that's right. D4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's something. So
Gotcha. Okay.
I missed my bowl.
Okay.
My rubber bowl.
So, as you can notice, this really tight, dank corridor with a thin stream of water at the bottom that doesn't really seem to have a current continues to delve deeper. You feel yourselves going down a hill for a significant period. You start to hear voices, just sort of in this kind of strange and distant and ancient language that I'm not sure any of you might necessarily know, but you can hear it coming from all directions. But every time you look around, you don't see any signs of people. There's no like crossroads. Like you're in again. The tunnel you're in is only about 8 feet wide, and there's no ways to the right, no ways to the left, no ways up or down. So it's like, where are these voices coming from? And then at some point, whoever's got a light source out, you notice that the entire corridor is skittering with these tiny little cockroaches or beetles of some kind. And when the light comes out, they start to speed forth, and you can see they begin to weave some kind of strange, waxy block to the passageway in front. And that's when the voice kind of echoes in front of you. You hear like 1,000 voices at once. And they identify themselves.
We are the witches of the catacombs below Hallow. We have long infested these lands. What toll do you offer for proper passage?
These are totally your people there, Duvesa.
Do you know what they like?
Do I know what they like?
I mean, witches they just like weird shit. They like stuff that helps them with spells. They like occult things. You could offer something. You could attempt to do a discern occult roll. If you want to try to go through all of your equipments and see if you can find something. Yeah, go ahead, Chuck had an idea.
Oh, yeah, I got something for that. I am going to cast my Greed of the Red King.
Okay.
It'll be a discern and occult spell test.
Okay.
On success, I determine what a target I can see. Can I technically see these witches or no?
You could see like their forms, like they seem to have taken the swarm of this beetle form. Yeah.
Okay, so a target that I can see, I can determine what they want most right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll do that.
Sure. Roll ahead. Go ahead and roll that test.
Discern occult. That'll be.
They want your Kethras or your Burnthos.
Ooh, oh yeah.
Oh goodness.
They definitely would not be opposed to meat of any kind, specifically heart meat. If you have any bits of the heart left.
I do.
Okay.
I have a beating heart.
Okay. That would probably suffice. Okay. Chuck, do you have any delve items?
No.
All right, then you crit on that. So go ahead and roll a d6 to do your resistance damage. Because you get to increase it by 1 die a step.
It's 4.
All right. So
Nice.
as you cast that spell, you can hear like 1,000 beetles in your mind just start saying meat, meat, meat over and over and over again, and finally Duvesa lays the beating heart down, and you see the beetles just begin to swarm, and that waxy blockage fades away, and you are able to pass through.
Nice.
As you continue.
That was all right.
Yeah, it worked out okay. As you continue to travel, you come across a couple other tunnels. You start to see some splintering. There are kind of forks here and there. You can also see that there are a few like coffins that have been spilled open but are empty. These old stone sarcophagi that don't appear to have anyone in them anymore. More than once you come across kind of a strange and cruel looking carving that's just sticking out of the wall at you, and as you turn with a torchlight probably gives you a small fright. But eventually you do hear this kind of weeping coming from above, from one singular voice, just this
Is it a witch?
and when you, who knows,
Like a Left 4 Dead witch. Sorry, that doesn't
oh
work.
god,
here.
that one, yeah. Just take the shoddy and come up really quietly and just brain it right in the back. You're fine. That's all you got to do. God, I love that game. Okay, so you come up and you can see that there's this man, and you can see that his shirt is all disheveled. He's got branches, like little vines, coming out of his back and kind of flowing down, almost like his hair coming out of his head as well. And he's just sitting there at the edge of what looks to be a ravine, this large chasm, excuse me. And there doesn't seem to be a very clear, definitive way across. It looks to be at least 100 feet. And when he sees you coming, he just looks up at you all, and he seems to be weeping, and like little bits of nectar is like dripping down from his eyes. And as you get closer to the edge, you can hear that that whimpering is kind of echoing from below, as if there's more voices that are emanating from the chasm beneath.
Hey there, Groot. What's got you down?
My family fell into the chasm.
Listen, this is going to sound like a real insensitive question here. Did they die?
In a manner of speaking.
How did they fall?
They tried to swing across and didn't make it. When my wife fell, the chasm grew wider, and my boy couldn't make it across either. And when he fell, it grew even wider for me.
So it's a hungry chasm.
So, listen here, Mr. Tree Friend.
How did you
Why
know
does-
my name?
Oh, snap.
Henry Treefriend.
We definitely we can hear some crying coming down from that coming up from that chasm.
It's them and whoever fell before them.
There.
I'm curious. Do you see anything funny with your special eyeglasses, Kethras?
Yeah, I'll throw that on.
Are we doing a last crusade? Is that what we're looking for? Looking for a bridge?
A little bit, yeah.
You do not see a hidden bridge. No, I'm sorry to say.
Oh.
But you do see a man sitting in front of you, and not somebody like you can. All of the vines and stuff that were on him are now clean, and you can kind of see his original drow form, as if he's just a normal person.
Weird.
Well, if they fell down to the bottom of the chasm and didn't die, then surely the chasm must not be that far down.
When you look
Yeah,
down,
I'll go up to the ledge and look. Yeah.
yeah, it's dark. It's you if you drop a torch, it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes until you can't see it anymore.
Oh no, that's too far down. I assume there's no ways around the chasm.
There does not appear to be any sort of way across. There are a variety of vines and roots that seem to be hanging from the ceiling, probably similar to what his wife and boy were swinging across.
Do these seem sturdy? Like, did they? Does it seem like they fell because the vine broke, or because they like missed a jump?
You can do it if you want. You want to roll a discern wild to try to assess the relative strength of some of these vines.
I have either of those.
I could
Can
help
anyone
you do
assist?
that if you'd like.
Okay, take an assist die. If
What
anyone
was it?
else,
Or if
Discern?
you'd like, I can do the check because I have
Yeah,
a knack
that-
for discern now.
I have discern.
okay.
That'd
So
be better. I don't have either.
Tarnished will make the roll and then take 2 assist die, one from Duvesa, one from Keth. There's no reason you all can't spread out and take a look with this.
Okay.
Mhm.
That gives me 5 dice.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
There we are.
Not only can you tell like that many of these
I
are
specialize.
dangerous to pull on, but you actually identify a couple roots that you think are fairly sturdy and flexible, meaning they might actually help you in the swing if you tried to swing across, or if somebody tried to swing across. So what I would basically do is if somebody tries to do a delve test to swing across, I give you a mastery die, so you can take a knack from that crit success. So extra die for whoever wants to like swing across like a rope or something, and then like bring the others across.
I can take
What
the
would
chance on
the
that
check
one if
be
you'd
for
like.
that?
I would say delve. We could do Warren. We could do wild. Either of those would be okay.
I
I've
have
got
delve.
Delve
Oh,
Warren.
You have delve.
Or
Okay.
curse, actually. Curse would be okay here. This is a
I have
curse
that
chest.
too.
Okay.
Okay. So
I have. Yeah.
if you point out which I assume you would, the roots of note to Kethras, and Kethras, you could do your normal roll, and then you can get an assist die for this, like a mastery die, for what Tarnished does. It points it out to you.
Okay. So 4 then.
Okay. So you
There
There we go.
You
That'll
grab
do.
it, and you swing across all the way. And as you do, you get a sudden glimpse of all of these spectral souls at the bottom of this chasm, just kind of like reaching up towards you. They're nowhere close to touching you, but they're just kind of reaching up. You would imagine that his family isn't the first to probably have fallen, which suggests why it's so wide, perhaps. But you make it all the way across, and you're able to tie off a rope or two, and the rest of the party can get across easily enough. Do you have any delve equipment?
I do
You
not.
could come to Tree Friend if you want.
Okay, roll a d4.
And yeah, can I help the tree friend guy across?
He'll come across. Yeah, he'll come across, but then he'll just sit down on the other side, and he'll weep over his lost family.
You'll have to move on eventually. Sorry.
You can see that when he sits, like the vines and the roots that are kind of coming out of him are beginning to dig into the earth, as if he's like laying some kind of foundation here.
This is where he lives now.
This is where he lives now. All right, was that a 1 I saw, Joe?
Yep.
That's a shame.
That is a shame.
Yep.
The,
I know, especially since we actually had like good dice rolls
Yeah, it was
for
good.
once.
It was awesome.
Up until that.
So the sudden appearance of roots and vines continues for a little while, and eventually the tunnels you're in begin to kind of narrow down back to one long, wide one. Yeah, this is where the heart console is, Justin. Yeah, that's right. All the titles, Justin, have been heart references, every single one. Okay. So as you're moving down this tunnel that's funneling into one singular wide tunnel, you come across kind of a peculiar sight of an upside down tree in front of you. You can see its branches are dunked in these murky green waters, not too deep, maybe just a couple feet up to shins or knees. You see that its roots are sticking upwards and kind of holding up what look to be lanterns. Like they're kind of giving off some kind of light, and they're pulsating for some reason. There's a bunch of
Are they
rock.
like electric lanterns or?
Yeah. No. From a distance, you can tell it's not electrical. It's not like this isn't a tech
flickery
thing.
or-
Yeah, this isn't a tech
Okay.
thing. This is something maybe magical or just something eerily supernatural. You can see there's a bunch of rotten fruit that's scattered across the ceiling. You can see all sorts of bits of fruit on the ceiling, and every now and then you can see that one of them slowly ripens. Okay, and then it kind of falls down and connects itself to one of those branches. Everything's kind of going backwards or upside down. And this thing covers almost the entirety of the tunnel moving forward.
How bizarre. Trees aren't supposed to do like that.
Yeah. How
Is
bizarre.
there a piece of ripened fruit on one of these branches we can get to?
Yeah.
I hope this is the tree mite from Dragon Ball Z.
I'll go. I would like to take 2 pieces of fruit.
Okay. So you snatch 2 pieces of fruit, and when you do, you can see that the things that are glowing seem to be the earliest stages of the fruit, and so the longer the fruit stays, it becomes this pulsating thing. And so maybe you grab one of the lighted ones and one of the normal ones that aren't lit, and you can see that the inside of that kind of pulsing yellowish light, you can see that a heart just boom, 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 just beating like a human or a drow heart just beating.
Is this a witch afterlife that was rumored?
Possibly.
Well, first off, I'll toss one of the beating heart lights to Duvesa. Here to replace the one you had to give up.
Then you get oh gosh, you can't see.
That's a
And-
D8 cursed item.
That's even better.
Oh wow! I want to go find another one of those beating hearts to keep.
Yeah,
So-
not knowing any better, I'm interested in taking some.
And then I'd like to find one that's not. Well, I guess I have one that's not glowing. I'll just take a bite of it and see how it tastes.
Roll an endure curse test.
You got it. Okay.
It's ripe. Yeah. Remember, ripe is like, oh gosh. So as you
Oh shit!
bite into it, you can feel these juices that you realize after a moment is just some kind of blood that starts to coat your throat and coagulate, and you begin to choke and have trouble breathing. When all of you look over at Morthos, his face is covered, the beard and blood. It's kind of trickling down onto his shirt, and he seems to be struggling pretty
I'll
horribly.
take
with
my
breathing.
shield and swing it into his back to perform the Heimlich.
That is a weird. Honestly, any place in Heart is going to be a weird place to pop in on.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh,
you take
oh no.
12 points of echo stress.
Oh no!
As you can feel, as you continue to try to swallow, the coagulated blood begins to thin itself, but you don't feel it kind of move down the throat anymore. And you can start to see that these little lines, almost like vines, begin to grow greenish where your veins used to be, as if your blood is slowly being replaced with something. So 12 points of echo stress. This could be the end of Morthos. 5.
Wow.
My grand total is 19.
So that's only going to be a minor, though, because I did only roll a 5. So that's
Oh.
good at least. So
Means you can only clear that though.
do you have any minor going on right now?
No.
Okay, so I won't upgrade this. What do we want to do?
Part tree friend.
We're going to say we already done Strange Appetite with him, right? That was pretty fun. for a
That's
bit.
what got us into this mess to begin with.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll do your skin blisters and bubbles. So whenever you take blood stress, take an extra D4 as the boils split and burst, and whenever they do, it's this orangey nectar that pops out, not blood.
Oh,
Okay.
wow, that's beautiful.
All right.
We're gonna have to get you some aloe vera.
Bubbles. All right. So still nowhere closer to getting past this tree.
I do want to get at least one of the fruit from it, anyways.
Sure. You can, if you all want, you can take a D. I will say that these things are deteriorating. So if you want to use it, you would need to use it before you leave the next landmark. So you can get to Moongrove, but if you don't use it by the time you leave Moongrove, then you're gonna have to remove them.
You know,
Okay.
they didn't taste that bad.
Well, I might be
It's
able
fine.
to pay someone with it instead. So
Yeah.
So how is this tree blocking our path?
It's just literally you're in a tunnel and this thing's upside down and it's stuck in your way. It's thick
Is
trunk,
it-
all sorts of branches in different directions, and the branches seem ambulatory in some way.
I have one of my abilities is that I can dig through dirt with my hands as if I have a shovel.
Yeah, there's no dirt around here though.
Yeah,
It's
the dirt's up
Oh, is
top.
it all stone?
In a
it's
pool
all
of
stone.
water.
It's all stone and a pool of murky green water at the bottom.
Okay.
Can I pull
I-
out one of my delve omens?
Yeah, because actually this is where they would count. What do you got, Chuck? You were gonna say something.
We all know what I got.
You want to set it on fire? Yeah,
He's got to burn the tree
yeah.
down. Yeah.
yeah.
I
Save that for
am
later.
wanting my something solid turns to liquid.
Okay.
I'm wondering if I can.
Liquefy a tree.
I'm wondering if I can use exsanguinate and like kind of pull enough of the blood out of all of these fruits.
Yeah.
To it won't really turn into liquid, but kind of shriveling it a bit.
Okay. Okay. So you stand in front of it, and these your visions just happen, right? We don't even have to roll for it or anything.
No, it's mastery.
Okay. Oh, it gives you mastery. Okay, perfect. So you're
Yeah.
gonna stand in front of it, and you can see Devesa goes through her normal machinations, and you can see that all sorts of that orangey, that bright, almost illuminated orange nectar begins to start exsanguinating, splurting out of the various fruit and some of the branches as well. Go ahead and roll. Let's see. Cursed is going to be the domain. Discern, I think, might make sense.
Both of those.
Discern
it'll
cursed.
be 3.
And you got your mastery die.
Let me see if I get mastery for that.
No, you do because of you tap the vision.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Hmm?
4.
Okay.
Success with stress.
Sure. So as you all are watching this happen, you can see that massive trunk, it begins to shrivel and shrivel and shrivel until there is enough room on either side that you could squeeze by. And so if you were to hurry,
Basically, Capri Sun to that tree.
yeah, pretty much.
Let's hurry past. Is there any? Did you
Yeah.
all the fruit get shriveled?
I would say with her spell, all of the fruit seems to be ineffectual at this point. Like,
Okay.
it's all kind of like just dried up and nothing special to it.
Especially the ones that were still connected to the tree.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Like I don't mind grapes.
Okay.
Like or raisins.
Okay. You
Yeah.
quickly pull up like, oh my god, I'm having flashbacks when I was a kid picking up like rotten grapefruit and mangoes before I had to freaking mow the lawn. So you're like pulling all that kind of stuff up, and then you kind of get what you can. Go ahead and take like a D6 rotten fruit.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead and do that. I'm not sure who wants
Snacks
that.
for the road.
Someone might want that. And as you let
You
go
might
of the
want that.
exsanguinate spell, as you're watching them go through, you can see that immediately everything begins to reverse. And so you hurry and get through, and all of the nectar that you had just pulled out is slowly beginning to get sucked up once again. And it looks like the tree is going to replenish itself momentarily. But you managed to get past. Roll, if you don't have a delve item,
Nice.
roll a D4.
And I also took stress.
Yeah, I got you. On your way through, it snatches you a bit, and you can feel that a cut has opened up on your arm, and some of the nectar has gotten inside. Take 4 points of echo.
Same.
And so that's a 3.
No, I've got more than that.
All right, so then take
Actually,
a look.
hold on. I'm going to 1 second.
Yeah, you got
do
your
my- yeah.
gamble thing, right?
I got to roll a d6. Let's see if it's equal to or under 4. Crap, it's not.
So you
that
take
just made it
more.
worse.
You just made it
Hold on.
worse.
I did just make it worse.
So you just got to
Where
push
is
your
it?
luck.
So I just added 6 more
Yeah, so you now take.
echo stress. So now I take 4 more.
Okay.
Okay.
So what's the total?
I still failed. I have
Okay.
8 echo stress.
And so I rolled, so it's still going to be a minor. So it ends up working out okay. Let's see. For you, I mean, I guess we could just make it consistent, and you also have blistery, bubbly skin. It makes sense since you also have that. Yeah, let's do that. So Buboes, B-U-B-O-E-S. Extra D for whenever you take blood stress for both of you for who knows how long. It's ongoing. And then roll your D4 delve if you haven't done so already.
Who's
I
who's
haven't.
the both of us on that?
It's Morthos and Duvesa. Both of you should have
Oh.
that one.
And I rolled a 1 again.
Okay. Oh,
That's-
the blisters, yeah.
Yeah, it's the blister stuff. Oh my gosh, guys. Take
Now
your
we're gonna
time.
get through the delve.
Take
Hey.
your time.
We're,
Alright.
we're just
Not trying to
excited
get to
to
the heart or
experience
anything.
the whole delve.
You just don't want to let go. This might be the last true full delve that we complete, I think. Okay.
I have a reroll, but I think I'm gonna hold on to it for something.
Okay. All right. So, geez, what's next? Okay. You eventually make it past the area that looks to be kind of covered with these wild and deranged trees and vegetation, and you once again start seeing more signs of architecture. You know, you see some columns, you see some stones, you see archways periodically mixed in with a lot of that rock and sediment, and at a certain point, you come across this peculiar site. You have two different ways to go. When you explore one of them, you realize it's just kind of a curvy dead end that brings you back to this intersection. And when you take the other fork, you reach this. You reach a fort. When you look at it a little bit more closely from a distance, you can see it seems to be a fort that's built out of coffins and bone. And you can see that there is like a whole little ramparts and a gate and everything, skulls that are kind of creating like a nice piece of molding around the door. And you can see that there are these children that seem to be standing atop in attention, looking down at you all as you approach this gate.
Like
I don't
human,
like this.
what race?
Human and drow. Looks to be a mix. So there's a couple, and so they all see it, and when they talk and move, they kind of move in this zoetrope skittering fashion, like
We like normal kids.
yeah, so a little bit like that. They're very spastic.
Yeah.
And they look down at you, and they question who dost approaches. Very
I have
elevated
snacks.
language.
Oh. So you got some gummies and some
Do
cheese
you
packs?
have the sacred juice boxes? and orange slices?
No, but we have
Yes.
mini raisin packs.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
because
that's
kids
the
love
worst.
raisins. Yeah. Yeah.
Better
We're
yet,
just
losing
kill ya.
this fight.
better yet, they love raisin cookies even more.
So you hear them very like flamboyantly like
Who dost approaches the fort?
It is we,
Melissa's-
us.
Identify yourselves.
Well, I'm Kethras. So these are my friends. We'd like passage through your fort.
I gotta try and like cue up my Monty Python because I feel like there's something that we could play in here.
What is your title?
Again, they're all being very like formal and very like strange overtures.
Oh, they call me Morthos the Mad.
Oh, good to meet you, Morthos the Mad. What is your quest, sir?
We're venturing. What is our quest?
We seek the Holy
Going
Grail.
to the grove.
Yeah, we seek Moongrove
Mm.
for reasons.
Moongrove is through here. How do we know we can trust you, Morthos? These allies of yours have not identified themselves.
Oh, they were about to. I am just their messenger. Their their hype man. I will please and gladly step aside so they can introduce themselves with full and fanciful titles.
So I'll go up and introduce myself as Duvesa.
What is your title? Were you not listening before?
And then they're gonna throw a skull at you, and it's gonna hit
I'm
you.
going to turn into my true form.
Okay.
The
And they're-
terrifying.
If you
Oh.
if you would like to get to know me better, this is me. And so I'll turn into
But
my
but we hit you. You're dead.
No?
Can I go grab that skull?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, just a normal skull. Nothing special.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that how this works? And so I'll just sort of like do a very much after the fact belated like, oh, and then fall
Okay.
to the ground like I'm playing
Ah.
along.
Yes.
I'm dead.
You have fallen before the might of the Bone Fortress.
And then they look towards like Tarnished and Kethras and waiting for additional identification.
Tarnished-Steel-Endures.
Oh, yeah, you go.
The enduring.
It's a bit redundant, but good day, sir.
Kethras.
I am Kethras, the half-dead Gnoll of the heart.
No! Hit him!
And they throw, all of them start throwing bones at you. And they start raiding on you.
I'll just dramatically play up like, no.
Yes, kill that one.
And so you all can go ahead, and whoever wants to do this can go ahead. You can roll a compel cursed, if you like, and you can
Of
go ahead,
cursed.
you can go ahead and take a mastery or an axe since a couple of you played with them and actually
would like
played
to
into
do
the
that.
role play.
I have both of those.
Okay, go
Have
for it.
at it.
All right. So that's going to be 4.
Compel cursed.
Anybody want to help?
I can help with that too. So.
Okay, go ahead, take your assist,
Roll.
take a mastery die,
5.
go for it.
I'm assisting.
Okay.
There we go.
And so they accept your your presence, and you suddenly hear the door kind of flap. It flops down, and you can see there's just a couple more of those children behind it who are on like ropes and chains that are holding the door, and they invite you in, and they let you pass. So you can go ahead.
These kids. I thought I was going to hate these kids. I really like them.
So-
Just out of curiosity, those bones they were throwing at us, do they taste like normal bones?
you start biting into them. Like some of them taste pretty good. Some of them taste older than others. Some of them still
Okay.
have meaty flesh on them. Others,
Oh, what a
others don't.
surprise.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
People that they didn't let through.
Okay. So as you get through, you can go ahead and roll your D4 again, Duvesa.
Alrighty.
Roll a 2
See
or
if I
higher.
can roll better than a
Roll a
1.
2 or higher. Okay.
A 3.
Good enough. Good deal. And that is it. And so as you pass through the gates of the Bone Fort and you get back on the road to Moongrove, you notice that at a certain point the architecture that you've seen becomes more prevalent, and the earthy sediment, the cave formations begin to dissipate, and you can tell that you're getting closer and closer to a landmark. You're also beginning to see other people. You see groups of these pious clerics that are kind of slowly and painfully moving into various alcoves by altars, flickering candlelight and such, performing prayers and services. Strangely enough, you see some that are getting like tattooed like super intricately. They have these couple different magnifying glasses on top of one another as they're very carefully like tattooing somebody like right on the face somewhere. But eventually you manage to find a stairwell that allows you to emerge into this landmark that you would assume is Moongrove. You look around and you can see that it's a fairly serene place. It's very dark, and you can see that above you there's this kind of lunar coloring, this kind of yellowish, bluish glow that seems to resonate over all of these different trees that you're not even sure how they're growing. You don't see them planted in any particular soil. They're just erupting out of concrete and stone. You can see a whole messload of ornate sarcophagi in all sorts of directions, all around. You can see groupings of worshippers that are, again, moving slowly and painfully, and they're attending to various graves. And at the center of which there is this circular mausoleum that seems to sort of taper upwards. What do y'all want to do?
Look around.
Okay.
Suppose.
Explore.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Is it just populated with children?
no. There's no. You don't see any children anymore. This is just a bunch of just clerics and such. You see just people dressed in like robes. Some of whom are like limping, and some of whom are crawling, like literally just crawling across with the cans. When you pass by a handful of folks, you can see that they are heavily and intricately tattooed in any place that is visible: teeth, skin, eyes, fingernails, everything.
Wow.
When you check out that circular temple in the middle, it's described as what's called the Chapel Perilous, but there is a tithe to go in. But there's a woman at the front who was expecting like the gatekeeper, and she says,
Should the heart have had its way with you, you can find spiritual purity within, so long as you pay proper reverence to the goddess.
so this is an echo healing chamber actually. It's up to a D12, but you do have to pay a tithe to get inside.
I'm hoping that there is someone we can whack my hand back together here, but I will wait till we're done here first.
I do have minor echo fallout, so I would inquire as to the tithe required.
Provide us with that which is valuable to you, for it will be valuable and appreciated by the goddess.
So anything's fine.
I have a D6 cursed skin.
I'll take it. I'll take anything. Anything up to a D12. So it's a pretty hefty place, but D12s are always kind of random, though. You never know. You get kind of screwed on it sometimes.
And I'm just getting rid of minor.
Okay. So if you're getting rid of D6, so you give over there and you go inside, and you can see that it is this beautiful passage into artwork left and right, stained glass left and right. You can see all sorts of these beautifully lit windows that are kind of putting a kaleidoscope of colors on a variety of pews and altars. And when you go inside, there's several other clerics, some of whom are incapable of moving, who are just sort of sprawled across some kind of chair of stone. They go through and do some kind of gesture in front of you, and you can feel yourself getting a little bit better. So you said you're trying to clear fallout? Is that what you're trying to do?
The minor fallout that I just got.
Okay. D6.
Yep.
So you contribute a D6, and you can go ahead and do it. Done.
Yay.
Easy peasy. And so you can already feel that the bubbles and pustules that had been bursting with nectar are already beginning to heal. And when
Sweet.
they're done with the ritual, you can see that their fingertips are kind of covered in that glowing orange, and they kind of bring it back and start licking it off with these huge teeth with all of these little tattoos in them. What do the rest of you want to do?
So I'm kind of curious on the tattoos. Like, do they seem to be a certain theme across the board, or are they?
When you inquire, it's apparently people convey it as it's where particularly devout folks are. It's scripture basically, and so it's like words or voice of the goddess that they're just kind of tattooing in whatever places that they have. Like it's the literal words that are beginning to manifest elsewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's for the most devout, and you can tell that the hierarchy of devoutness seems to be the more tattoos and the more in pain you are from the markings that you have placed upon you, the higher you are. And many of the folks who don't move have had their flesh like ripped open and bones that were tattooed, and then the flesh recovered. And those are just like broken people that are just there, but ecstatic nonetheless.
I'd like to get on some of that. What Duvesa just got. I'll give up my D6 of rotten fruit.
And you want to get rid of the fallout?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Same, you can follow in behind her.
Okay.
No issue. When you walk into the temple, Morthos, you can see that there are people around who look at you.
Oh my gosh.
They kind of recognize you a bit.
I will definitely go over there and ask them, like, who am I?
Your face is familiar. I have seen it on the engraved on an old tomb. Yes, it is your face.
Where's this old tomb at?
I will take you there. Follow.
And this kind of heavy, broken, crooked man, every time he walks, you could hear a bone just. And he's laboring from breath. But he leads you a good ways, and it's very painful for him.
I'll offer, like, hey, you want me to, like, carry you?
Your hands shall not despoil the words of the goddess.
And he's covered in all those tattoos. And then eventually you come across this ornate, beautiful tomb of some sort.
The mausoleum has been here for ages. The stonework, but recently, just a few pulses prior, there were workers here who were doing something to the interior.
Cool.
They're mechano-occultists from the Institute of Celestial Ontology. Delivered large packaging here. But
What was the name of that group again?
The Institute of Celestial Ontology.
Is this a familiar name at all?
Some of you who have been here longer, you would know that it's a group that something too crazy or suspicious about them, but they tend to congregate at a place called the Plaza of the Silicate Flowers. They kind of look into, they study angelic aspects, basically. Like the impact of perhaps the connection between like witch curse blood stuff and like angelic presences within the heart, and seeing if those two things are at all intertwined in some way. They're very
into,
deep
like,
down in the heart.
They're into like studying the mechanics of it and all that.
Yeah, and like what the effects are on people.
Cool. I'm going inside my crypt.
Okay. What are the rest of you doing?
I don't think I even went into the church, so if they've left the church to lead them out, then I'll follow them out. But
Did you want to go in the church and do some echo heal or something?
I've only got 2,
Okay.
and I think I'll need my resources for my blood fallout.
If you ask
Would you
around,
say that I would have seen him in here?
who? Morthos?
Morthos.
Oh yeah, for sure.
'cause
He
we both
came
went
in
to the
right
same
after
place.
you. Yeah. Yeah. No
I
problem.
would follow.
Okay. At a distance, roll a sneak. No, you're fine. They're moving quite slowly. Okay, Kethras, you doing anything in particular? There's no other haunts here. The only one is the temple, unfortunately. Everything else just seems to be pilgrimages of broken people and others tending to graves.
Not at the moment. Just kind of want to look around, study it.
Okay. When you move around periodically, you can see little shimmers, Kethras, little sutures in the air that you think would probably lead you into the gray. More than once, a hand will reach up from below, a spectral hand that's been buried here. This definitely seems to be a place where numerous people have come to lay to rest.
Okay. Like I'm gonna see the gray leaking through.
Yes, definitely. Not just the gray, but perhaps other afterlives as well.
Oh, okay.
Mostly tastes like an asshole. Oh god. Okay. So is anybody? So I think Duvesa, Morthos, you're together. Kethras, you've been wandering. Tarnished, what are you doing?
I'm mostly just looking for somewhere to get that fallout I have pulled off, if it's possible. Otherwise, I'll probably just kind of be meandering about.
You could endear yourself to one of the clerics, perhaps create a bond if you like. There is
Can they clear fallouts?
yes, they can. Okay. I just had it up. I think it's a D8, if I recall correctly. So what kind of resources? Actually, wait, hang on. Let me pull it up again. So you can directly transfer up to D8 stress. You can also remove minor fallout results or downgrade major fallout to minor at the cost of D8 stress to the bond.
Okay, it's just a minor.
Okay.
That I have to get rid of. It's my busted hand.
Okay, so you you get into a conversation near that central temple with a cleric named Ferrant. And they all seem to talk like this because I don't want to change the voices. But
totally fair.
But they inquire about your travels. I once was a sage within the Vermissian. I traveled its many tunnels, and so once again asking, kind of looking at your shield and where you're tracking. Listening to you about your delves, and as long as you're willing to indulge him,
Sure.
he will certainly
I'll
listen.
definitely tell him about the train stations and the crazy crabs.
Okay, so he will take a D8 of stress, and then we'll see how it happens. That's 7 stress he takes.
Oof.
Then I gotta do a fallout check. He rolls a 1.
Oh no, he's not
gonna
my
take
friend
some
anymore.
fallout. He's a little bit angry with you. And if you could please, my brother was wandering off with a stranger, and there was a peculiar woman following them. Could you find out if he's safe still? I worry about him.
Absolutely. I think I know of the stranger and the peculiar woman.
Oh, well, good. That's very convenient. Okay.
They are quite all right.
Okay. So Duvesa, what are you doing? You said you were following Morthos. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then Kethras, you're looking around. Tarnished, you could hunt him down. When you get to the tomb, you can see that there is a large door, stone. You can see that etched, just like he said, into the middle of this huge, heavy stone door is the face of Morthos, but not the face of Morthos that you saw on the cliffs, the old man face. This is very much his face, as if it's literally him, including the most recent scars that you have on your face from when the pustules burst. Like the exact little tiny bit that's still healing is appearing on the carve. It's a perfect and spitting image of you. And apparently this has been here for quite some time. Though it's been opened somewhat recently and things were brought inside, or work was done on it, or something like that.
Inside I go.
So you go to push it open, and it's incredibly heavy. But as Duvesa and Tarnished arrive, the two of them can lend you some kind of hand. And when you step inside, the first few steps you get like this, the characteristic dusty, stale smell, and you come to a second interior door, but this one appears to be this beautiful stained glass. It's small. You recognize like the patterning from some of your visions and your dreams, Morthos and Duvesa, and you open it up, and suddenly it's like you're looking in an entirely different area, as this is a refined and almost highly modern room with a variety of kind of metallic railings, and you can see the framing of the windows itself seem to bring in light from the outside, but when you get close to them, you realize, no, it's just some sort of mage light that's just like an illuminated bulb of some kind. you can see that there's a variety of these small boxes, these glass boxes along the right and the left that have sprouting up in them these beautiful, colorful flowers. And you can see that as you're continuing to move around, there's another large door that is metallic, that seems to have all sorts of little panels on either side of it. A couple things start to point out to you. First, Tarnished, you get this eerie familiarness with this layout. There's like the two doors, the windows, the boxes. You take out that engineering catalog and you start flipping through it back to that page that had that weird dry scalp piece of hair. And and you look at the diagram in the engineering catalog and realize that this has kind of a peculiar octagonal layout that is the same that you saw before. And if the plans, if the schematics are right, there is this massive chamber on the other side of that door. The other thing that stands out, amongst all of this modernism, all of this beautiful, refined engineering, you see this crumpy, old, rusted punch clock standing, or like attached to the wall right next to this metal door with all sorts of locks and machinery. Hey, Vorlok.
We got punch cards.
We do.
This is my crypt after all, so I'm
I'm
gonna go.
I'm gonna go dust that off and give that a good looking over.
Okay.
While he's looking over, I'm just gonna go punch my card like right over his shoulder.
So you punch, and then you can see that a little, like a little circle in the metal door begins to spin, and it backs away, revealing this blue light.
Oh.
And you think you kind of get the feeling that you're supposed to put your face in it.
I do.
So you go over, and you can feel yourself, just this warm glow begin to fall over you, and you feel compelled at this point to kind of step forward. And as you do, you all watch as Morthos just goes through this metal door, just literally just heads in there. He got scanned, and then suddenly his body is just able, like it's walking through like a Stargate, just able to pass through it.
Well, that's some cool science right there.
Come
Duvase
on
is
in,
not
the water's
waiting
fine.
and is going to follow quickly behind.
Okay. So Duvase, we'll say Zerk does, obviously. Tarnished,
I'll go
Kethras.
through as well.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. When you step through, all of you, you are in a massive chamber. Morthos, I would say your eyes probably immediately go to one thing only. This enormous portal door of stained glass that you've seen when you've sipped on the memories of another you before. Except it's fully intact. This kaleidoscope of beautiful, beautiful glasswork on the far wall ahead of you, probably about 100 to 150 feet on the other side of this massive chamber. All of you are on a landing balcony, and there does seem to be a floor kind of beneath it. There doesn't appear to be any obvious ways down. But standing in front of you, you can see that there is this circular platform on which there are 3 chairs facing away from the door that you just came in towards that massive stained glass portal. And there's one seat that's empty, and then there's 2 others. When you look, you can also see that there are 2 other circular platforms, almost like it's creating a triangle within a circle. Okay, and each point of the triangle is a platform, and they also seem to have seats and chairs, but those seem to be completely filled. They're a good 75 feet away or so it's hard to discern exactly what it is. But Tarnished, I'll give this one to you for free since you have those goggles. And you kind of look in, and you can see that there appear to be different people within them. But as you look at them really closely, you realize each one of those is a Morthos on the 2 platforms, and they're completely filled. You see young, you see old, and in the middle, you see your Morthos, the one that you've been traveling with.
Oh, how bizarre. And that's the one with the empty seat?
The empty seat's right in front of you all. You literally could walk onto the platform if you wanted.
Which Morthos is it missing?
It's missing you.
Oh, I go sit
Yeah.
down.
So
I don't know about this.
I do.
So
Listen, it's me. What's the worst that can happen?
so
A lot.
yeah, a
A
lot of
lot.
bad things could happen. You when you step out onto the platform, you realize that like you're on glass. Like it's like this see-through glass. It's not stained coloring or anything like that. And you can look that below you, at least 100 feet, there is another circular room below you. If all of you come to the edge, you can look down and you can also see that there is this massive machinery. Duvesa, you're immediately recalling a vision you had of being down there somewhere. You saw that machinery, those gears, those intricate gears that don't seem to be connected to anything. And you also notice that this platform is not connected. It's just literally floating in the air. Same with the other two. When you sit, you hear a little click. And then there's this light begins to cover the entirety of the glass.
Welcome to Morthos Theaters. Now,
Where are the rest of you?
it's probably not a good idea, but I figure I want to be up there looking at that machinery.
Okay.
Since I figure that will fascinate.
That's at
Tarnished
least
Steel.
100 or so feet down. And
I mean, like, I don't want to be in
Okay.
it, but I mean, like, you know, I
So
want to be
I
up there where I can see it.
I guess my question
Right.
is: are you on the circular platform with Morthos, or are you waiting on the balcony?
Unless he made me leave, I figure I'm gonna be like,
More the merrier. Come on the platform.
Duvesa
Yeah.
would have gone onto the platform.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
live a life full of regrets.
I'm
Okay.
gonna stand on the edge of the platform.
Okay.
He doesn't trust it. He might
I know
try
this
and
theater's
dive
not
off.
here for me, but I want to see the machinery.
Okay. So as all you pile on to the platform, Morthos sits down. Morthos, you look to the left of you, and you see someone who looks like the spitting image of Bernthos, kind of a younger you, like your college days, your college years. And the
Yeah.
one to the right is the grumpy old man that Duvesa has seen in her visions that you've seen on the side of the cliff in Gasling Plain. And both of
Back of
them,
that book.
yeah, and both of them turn and look at you and smile, and they both kind of reach out and just pat your hand. They seem to be conscious but moving in this kind of slow, sluggish, the same way that Bernthos did, just sort of sluggish.
Yeah.
And as the click happens, you can feel the light below you, or you can see the light below you begin to flitter as that see-through glass suddenly becomes covered in all sorts of different colorings, and all of a sudden you all begin to move. And so the whole platform just begins to rotate and spins and spins. You can hear below you the machinery has begun to rotate around, all these different gears moving in different connections, little kind of pistons moving up and down. All of it looks to be pristine. Everything is glistening in chrome. And you just keep spinning and spinning and spinning, and it just gets faster and faster and faster. I need everybody.
Does it feel like it's throwing us off?
Yeah, it's about to. I'm going to have everybody at this point go, other than Morthos, go ahead and roll an Endure. This will be technology test.
Good.
This
Okay.
is the large Morthos collider instead of the large. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's like a Morthos
As it starts
centrifuge.
spinning, can I try and run to the center?
Yeah, sure.
Like, is it spinning like the point that's
Oh.
spinning in the middle?
Who
So
got that
it's all, yeah,
critical
all of them
success?
seem to be
That was me.
spinning over top of the
Nice.
the machinery.
Okay, but is it like the disc itself is spinning, or is it like the disc is moving?
The disc is moving. Yeah, the disc is moving.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay.
Okay, so I see two.
It's not. It's a small world at Disney.
right.
It's not each
It's-
individual.
Oh my god!
There's
I
a
actually
wall.
wrote that down in my notes. I'm like teacups? Question mark? Yeah, I wrote that down.
Yeah, we're all in here. We're doing this to try and make the other person throw up.
Kethras, go. I need your Endure tech. I think
Okay,
you do.
indoor tech.
You're not doing it right until someone gets sick.
In there.
Oh, damn! All of you are feeling the feeling yourselves getting pushed off of the platform, but you managed to grab hold in time of the chairs, and you continue to, and you go, And that's when the entire room is suddenly flooded in these different colored lights as each one of the panels of that massive stained glass portal, one by one, begins to light up. And once all of them do, you can feel like the entire room begin to shake, just as the doors themselves just begin to bleed away as the light overtakes all of like the metal framing. And then once that light does so, it dissipates. And when you look back, there's nothing there. The portal is now open completely. And you see this orange, reddish, fleshy looking portal standing in its place. The spinny parts begin to slow. And once they come back to a stop as you're back by the balcony, you can see a staircase, this winding staircase, has opened on either side of your spinning platform and goes all the way to the bottom where the machinery is.
Oh.
The door is opened and you look forward and you see this orange, like that massive portal is now just completely this orange, yellow, reddish amalgamation of light standing in front of you.
I feel like we gotta go to it.
Yeah.
All of
I'm
you.
gonna study this machinery real good on my way
Okay.
down there.
Or we can go, or the stairs opened up down to the machinery.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like the stairs, you can get down.
So there's two different things
Okay.
to do: either look at the machinery or go through the portal.
And they're on their, and the machinery's on the way. So you go
Okay.
down the staircase, you stop by the machinery, you take a look, and it seems to have settled. It's no longer functioning anymore. It's all like it's slowly in the course of like, you're guessing it likely.
Winding down.
Yeah, it's like it's slowly, you can feel a sense of heat coming off of it, but it definitely seems to have done its purpose. You still don't see anything connecting them, by the way. You don't see any cables, you don't see any beams, nothing. It's just somehow connects to those floating platforms.
Can I try to stand wherever I would have been standing in my dream, just to have the same perspective on it to see if anything different appears to me?
Sure, yeah. You stand and it gives you kind of a sudden wave of deja vu. But aside from that, nothing. Like you are exactly where you were when the dream happened, and
Kethras.
the last thing you saw was them walking into the portal.
Kethras, look with your special eyes.
All right, I'm gonna flip up my spectacles and see if I see anything connecting.
I need you to roll an Endure Cursed test.
Oh no.
I have those, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, I'm still waiting. Sorry. Okay.
Oh baby.
Your eyes are completely overloaded with a massive spectrum of colors that you probably cannot physiologically be able to discern. Like, it's just, there's colors and there's images and there's patterns that you have never seen before, and it's and after a moment of looking at it, you just have to rip the glasses off as you can feel your eyes just begin to literally melt, but you're able to rip them off just in time. Whatever's coming out of there is all sorts of colorings and patterns and waves and signals that you get the sense that this might be an entrance to the heart.
Oh, I am
was gonna
super
guess that.
excited.
All right. And that's just looking at the portal or looking at the machine?
That's just looking at the portal. If you look over at the machine, you don't really get anything special from it, except you do see these invisible tethers that seem to be
Yeah, okay.
connecting up to the portals below, or the platforms above you.
Okay.
Fancy.
Sweet.
So,
Yeah, I'll relay that. I think it goes to the heart because my brain almost melted from that.
let's anyone wanting to check out these fancy machines before we do cartwheels into the heart?
I mean, I did, but if it's just, looking at them and savoring their appearance, then
Yeah, I wouldn't make you roll
I think
because there's nothing you're going to get from the roll. So
Yeah,
you
that's
would
what I
be
mean.
able to deduce that there's likely something also underneath the floor. That this is just what's on top, and it's probably a far more complicated bit. You would probably know that when the Vermissian, the companies that were building the Vermissian, were first delving into the heart and exploring all sorts of things down here, that they came across all sorts of tech that they didn't understand how it was here or how it worked or who left it here and why it was there. This might likely be that. This isn't something that you would recognize as being part of a standard, a standard company in derelict disrespect.
Well beyond me.
Yeah, it's something else.
Gervais is gonna
Fantastic.
ask.
Such
Gervais
excitement.
is gonna ask Morthos if the other versions of him talk to him.
Bernthos did just a little, not anything useful.
So Gervais is going to kind of spill the whole backstory at this point,
Okay.
Of like all the years of dreams and all of the pictures and all of that. And she has been wondering if she should be disappointed that it's just like a guy in like a group, or if it's sort of that like, wow, you're even cooler than I thought you were kind of a thing. But you are definitely important to the heart.
Well, that's something.
And like she's showing you all of like the images and all of the pictures that she's picked up over the years from artists drawing you and all of those things. Your
Are the
fame
other,
is far and wide.
Are the other Morthoses still in the chairs?
Yes, they are.
And are they all conscious?
The two that you saw that you were sitting next to, Morthos, they all were conscious, but again, like this weird sluggishness. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bernthos conscious.
Exactly. Tarnished, with your special little eyes, I would say you can get the same gist from the others. They all just seem to be where they need to be.
Okay.
Well, everything's pointing us this direction. Let's go.
So
through the
anyway,
portal.
I started walking.
Okay. Is anybody not going into the portal? Okay. All right. And obviously, I know Zerk is, because that's Zenith.
I do want to enter the gray.
Okay.
And see what the portal looks like while I'm in the gray.
It is the exact same thing you see, including color. Which
But there's like a part of me that feels like I should stay out because I've never had anything suggesting I should go in.
it's an adventure, Harry.
But the
You
whole
gotta go
part of
in.
this
You
is to
gotta
go
go
in.
in.
So all right,
I do that.
I'll go last.
Since session 1, I've had a piece of equipment that I got on character creation, a mad impressionist votive image of a witch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I got it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it anyone I've recognized?
Roll a discern, and I'll let you roll this with a mastery. Say discern Haven is fine.
Discern. I've got discern. How does rolling with a mastery work?
Just an extra D10.
Okay.
Okay.
Not bad.
Seeing that Bernthos and that you came across was a younger version of yourself, seeing these different pictures of old man you in different places, you start to realize how kind of obtuse maybe you were, and you start noticing, you like look at Duvesa and you look at the witch, and you look at Duvesa and you start adding different colored hair, adding a couple crow's feet here, a little less meat on the cheeks, and you think it might be an older version of Duvesa.
Oh, that's exciting. I would definitely you got all those pictures of old man Morthos. I do have a picture of old lady Duvesa.
And that Duvesa is gonna like go off and have this like spirited conversation with herself, because like this is not about her, this is about someone else, and that just scares the shit out of her. That like, wait, what? And so she's having very much a conversation with herself about 5 feet away
Maybe
from you.
there's old and young versions of all of us.
Maybe.
I don't know. So far,
That's
I think
enough
there's only one
contemplation.
version of me.
Uh-huh.
Old me is just more dead.
Yeah, a little more rotted.
Young you is just alive.
Yeah. But anyway, that's enough contemplation for Morthos. I am definitely going to stroll my happy ass right into that portal.
Okay.
Duvesa follows next.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Anybody-
listen for screams first, and if I don't hear any, go in.
You don't hear screams.
All right.
Okay. Zerk will go in. I know he wants to go there, so he's going in. What about Tarnished?
Start walking.
Okay.
Shield up.
Dum, dum, dum. You all step through the portal, and you can feel immediately this like tingling sensation as all of your skin just feels lighter. The hair, if any of you have hair on your arms and the hair on your heads, just begins to sort of separate from itself. So none of it's clumped together. None of it seems to be touching anything else. This weird electrostatic energy and a sense of a distant humming begins to enter your ears, like this, like a tinnitus, but actually pleasurable in some way. You kind of feel a level of your anxiety and fear and apprehension, perhaps, or just excitement, begin to calm a bit, and your breathing suddenly steadies. Your heartbeats that are echoing from your chest begin to steady as well. You notice that you can't really see each other, but you know that you're there. You kind of just feel strangely that you're there. Everyone's there. You speak words periodically, and you can see they seem to come out of your mouth. You can see the physical manifestation of them, as if a bit of bubbling air just begins to express, but nothing happens. Just goes off into the distance. All of you become encompassed in this red fog that permeates around you, begins to swirl between like the crevices of your packs, into the creases of your clothes, through the stitching. You can see it kind of coming up underneath your shirts and out of the necks and kind of down through your sleeves and out by your fingertips. You become aware that it's not just the five of you suddenly. You feel as if there are other shapes here, entities. You can see things moving. You see these big blotches of red just begun to move right past you. You can see the dispersal of the fog as it does, and just for just a tiny moment, you almost see a shape of somebody else, impossibly tall. You get this vague sense of architecture.
Oh, Morthos.
You get this vague sense of architecture beginning to pulse and simmer through the fog, or shimmer through the fog, like these little flickerings. And you start to see these fluted columns that are erupting, you assume, out of the ground, but when you look down, you see no base of a column. That just continues to extend downward, and it continues to extend upward, as if you're like walking in the middle of them. You see no ceiling that they are connected to. As you track them upwards, there's just this sky, this purplish reddish sky with these amoeba-like shapes that are hurtling past. Maybe they're clouds, planets, moons, creatures, you're not really sure. And then abruptly, you find yourselves in a room, and the fog begins to settle so that it only seems to cover your feet, the ground, your knees even. And you can see that there are these ornate and beautiful steps that are leading to a pedestal. But they are not steps that are meant for you all, for the size is just too great. The steps themselves are the size of a building, a home, 15, 20, 30 feet tall themselves. Perfectly hewn and carved stone, but red in some kind of coloring, a glistening coming from the edges, almost as if there's like running lights around the side. On that raised platform, as you crane your heads almost painfully upwards, you can see a throne, glistening, maybe wet, you're not really sure. As the fog thins, you suddenly can see each other, all kind of in the same area, but all of you look different. Your skin seems to be coated in these small creatures that are moving up and down and all over your bodies. These bugs or these bots or these pimples or tumors that are shifting all around you. You take one and you bite it, and it's sweet. It's this beautifully sweet sensation, and you feel a kind of a shiver just run through you a bit, and the rest of them just continue to scatter. You don't really feel much of anything as you kind of maybe reach out from one another, and like as you make contact, you can see your hands making contact, but nothing seems to resonate. The nerve ending's just not working. And then when you look back at the platform, you can see a figure on a throne, and you can see all sorts of tendrils or cables that are winding through the fog now as the fog continues to settle. That's connected to this. You look off in the distance, you can see lightning just crashing down, this purplish lightning, and these giant figures, some of which are humanoid in shape, some of them canine, some of them have no shape, and they're just hurtling through the horizon. And connecting them are these cables and these tendrils that all seem to congregate at the top of this platform, where you can see this big, massive, shapeless form of red heart flesh with these things connecting into it. And as you look up, you can see that there's no sense of limbs or feet, but a face begins to kind of form. You don't recognize it. It's not human. It's this frightening but wondrous image at the same time. And as you become sort of infatuated and mesmerized by it, you notice finally that these cables and these tendrils begin. You look down, and you're connected as well. And slowly, one by one, you all begin getting pulled inward up these stairs, just like flopping against these huge 30-foot tall steps. But none of it hurts. You don't feel anything. Everything's fine. And you get up to the top step, and you can see this beautiful jeweled throne. And you can see the face and that giant mass begin to just open. And the tendrils just pull all of you inside, and then you're smothered over top of it. And we're going to end there, and we'll pick up right there next week.
What a cliffhanger that is.
There you go.
Right.
But you are inside the heart and inside something else, perhaps. All right, because I want Matt to get some of this too. So, and plus we're over anyway. We're 9:15, so we're a little over anyway. All right, so you guys made it to the heart.
We did.
So we did.
I totally forgot to do my beat before we got here. I was like,
Everything
oh,
is fine.
all right, we're already here.
Yeah. So Zenith-wise, becoming one with the heart. Who had those?
Chuck and I.
I mean, technically, you could say you completed those.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Which means that you have the potential to in the next session, you can channel your Zenith ability at some point if you desire.
Oh, shit.
There we go.
Matt Zerk, I would assume, would probably be able to do it as well. Don't forget, like if you accomplish a beat during the session, you gain your ability too. So it's not like you have to wait till the next session, because next session will probably be our last. I think we'll probably be able to, if not, no more than a second after that, but probably next week. Kethras, we're not to yours yet, but I think yours we'll get to next week.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, Tarnished, the secrets of that engineering catalog have revealed themselves, I suppose.
Well, are we calling that a hit?
I'm okay with that. If you were wondering like how is this connected, that's fine. Since we never really defined it with yours, we got to do something. But all right, that was fun. We are in the heart. We made it. We're there.
We made it.
Are.
So excited.
Now it's time to get wrecked.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Everything's going great so far.
Everything's fine.
Oh no.
Everything is fine. Okay, we'll do some quick plugs really quick again. Defenders of Kobold, when you're streaming this week?
Wednesday night, Joe's running some Dungeon Crawl classics in the form of Secure, Contain, Protect. Friday night, you can find us on the Zweihander Twitch, playing some Zweihander, of course. And then Saturday night, we'll be on our channel, Defenders of Kobold, running some Dark Trails.
Okay. Perfect. We are going to be on Zweihander RPG's Twitch channel on Thursday at 9 Central, playing more of our Untitled STEM game. We're also going to be on Friday, but earlier than Chuck's stuff, so we'll probably end up raiding if we finish at the right time. We're playing Electric Bastionland. I want to say at 6. It's 8 p.m. Central, so like an hour. We start about an hour before. An hour is only about a 2-hour stream. And that's it for this week's streams. Just those are the only 2 left for us. And so that's about it. I always forget to raid on Mondays. I have no idea why I always forget to do this.
We're not always great at it either.
Yeah.
To be completely honest.
I always remember on Fridays, because it's usually like either you guys or Matt or Party Wipe that we end up raiding, something like that. See is anyone on?
Dustin's going.
Yeah,
Yep.
we've been going over to TT2KB because
Perfect.
he's been on later than us almost every time somehow.
Let's do it. That seems like the most. We'll do that now. So thanks everybody for watching, and we'll hang tight for the raid as we go to TT2KB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.